They were called to serve and not to be served. 11 men in the Diocese of Springfield completed a 4-year-long process as they were officially ordained to the permanent diaconate of the Diocese of Springfield. Terry Hegarty was at St. Michael's Cathedral in Springfield this morning for the celebration and brings us this report.
When it comes to serving the church, diocesan deacons are on the front lines. And finding themselves right up front in St. Michael's Cathedral, 11 more men joined the ranks of those servants as they were ordained permanent deacons for the Diocese of Springfield. Bishop Timothy McDonnell presided as men from across the diocese became the newest members of the clergy. Family members, friends, and fellow clergy looked on and celebrated with the men.
You travel through this journey of formation, discerning a call to the diaconate, not by yourself. First and foremost, there's my wife, my other family members. I have a young daughter named Grace that's 18 months old now. And my priest, my mentor, you have a spiritual director. And throughout the 4 years, you just really try to draw as close to Jesus as you can and discern this call to serve.
There are now 79 active deacons in the diocese with the diaconate class of 2011.
It's a great group. They're very bonded together. And I expect a lot out of all of them. The diocese does. And I just see great things will come out of all of them.
Deacons serve in a variety of ministries, mostly assisting in parishes. Diaconate formation is a thorough, rigorous 4-year program consisting of discernment and college-level courses at Elms College. Many of the men say that they had been called to their ministry long before starting in the formation program.
People would say, "Gee, George, have you ever thought about being a deacon?" It was like came right out of the blue. And I would say, "No, not really," but the more that people would ask me that, the more I started thinking about it. And I would talk it over with my wife, Lisa. And finally one day, this is probably 2 or 3 years of this going on, she said, George, maybe you should really think about it because, it could be the Holy Spirit here working.
Deacon George will serve at Our Lady of Peace Parish in Turners Falls. He says the formation program taught him to think differently. As an engineer, he was used to writing in a very technical manner.
I had never really written a reflection paper before in my life. So I started handing papers in, and I got footnotes here, and I looked up references there. And one of the guys said to me, he said, "George, this is a reflection on how you feel." He said, "You don't have footnotes on your heart. You got to change that around. You got to change and go from here down to here."
Deacon John Zick of West Stockbridge, who will be serving at St. Patrick Parish there, and St. Anne Parish in Lenox, and St. Vincent de Paul Parish in Lennoxdale, says that some people might approach a deacon with certain problems before speaking to their pastor.
The reason some people will come to a deacon rather than to a priest is because we deal with the everyday problems that other people don't necessarily experience. We do balance our budget and pay our mortgage and raise our children and get along well with our wives, thank God.
But Deacon Leo says that deacons encourage people to share their problems with their priests as well. Deacon Rick will serve at St. Agnes Parish in Dalton. He says he never hesitated in his desire to join the clergy, even at the height of the clergy abuse scandal.
We fail as individuals, we have to lift each other up, and we've learned a hard lesson from it, and we have to go forward. And the diaconate is one way in which, because we're such an active sign out in the world, that I believe we will begin to gain, I guess you could even say, the trust of the people, and they'll see that sacramental sign of the diaconate out there and bring people back to the church.
As the men of the class of 2011 approached the altar at St. Michael's Cathedral, they literally took their last steps on their long journey toward ordination, and they returned to their seats as members of the clergy. From here, these deacons will go forward, ministering in their parishes and communities, now able to preach the gospel and provide many sacraments. In doing so, they will grow stronger still in their faith and help strengthen the faith of those around them. But one challenge for them will be the delicate balance of juggling family, work, and diaconate life.
We tell them that family comes first, then your job, and then the diaconate. But it's so easily, you can get caught up in serving the church, but it's so easy when you're doing something good for someone. It makes you feel good, and so you might want to go out more often than you really should, because you should be at home with your family.
And for those who even think they might be called to this ministry, Deacon John has some advice.
Prayer, studying the Bible, and praying on it brings you much closer to the person of Jesus Christ, and you're able to form a much more sincere relationship with Jesus and to hear the call of the Spirit better.
I think the diaconate makes you more open to your surroundings and to the great gifts that God's given all of us.
Sharing their gifts with the faithful of Western Massachusetts, these men now begin, as members of the clergy, serving God and neighbor. Reporting for Reel to Reel, this is Terry Hegarty.
Congratulations to all of the men who I hear are very anxious to begin serving in their roles as ordained ministers in their parishes. Good luck to all.